From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline, Malacanang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacanang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday welcomed 343 overseas Filipino workers or OFWs repatriated from the Middle East as the government accelerates evacuation efforts amid rising regional tensions. The group arrived at Villamor Air Base in Pasay City aboard the fourth government-chartered flight from Saudi Arabia. Department of Migrant Workers or DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak said the passengers include Filipinos from Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, many of whom endured long land travel due to airspace restrictions. Kakdak added that the repatriates had to cross borders by land, traveling 7 to 8 hours on average to reach Riyadh before boarding the Philippine Airlines chartered flight home. Around 10 to 15 dependents, including children, were also on board. Kakdak said more Filipinos are expected to return soon, with the 5th and 6th chartered flights being prepared from the United Arab Emirates, home to a large Filipino community. He assured that government funds for repatriation and reintegration remain sufficient. Returning OFWs will receive temporary shelter, transportation, financial assistance, and arrangements for travel to their home provinces. The ongoing repatriation is part of the government's continuing efforts to ensure the safety of Filipinos affected by the escalating conflict in the Middle East.
Dateline, Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. spent Monday morning in Pili, Camarines Sur Province, walking through the newly built Bicol Mega Cold Storage and Processing Facility, an investment he says is meant to ease the daily struggles of Filipino farmers. Speaking after the inspection, the president acknowledged what farmers have long endured: long hours in the fields, unpredictable weather, and the pressure to sell their harvest quickly before it spoils. President Marcos told them the government wants to change that. Without cold storage, he said, farmers often have no choice but to accept whatever price traders offer. But with this new facility, run not by big companies but by a local group, farmers will finally have the power to decide when to sell and what price. The facility is massive: 6 refrigerated rooms, a blast freezer, a prep area, and solar panels to keep everything running. With a 500 million peso investment and a capacity of more than 200,000 tons a year, it's designed to help over 200,000 farmers across Bicol, Visayas, and Mindanao. President Marcos also highlighted the vegetable and fruit processing center beside it. Here, produce can be turned into frozen cuts, dried goods, canned items, or purees, value-added products that can bring more income to local communities instead of large corporations. During the tour, the chief executive watched workers demonstrate the equipment and even sampled some of the processed items. For many farmers in the region, the hope is simple, that these facilities will finally give them a fair shot at earning from the food they grow.
Mag-organize tayo ng grupo na magko-control dito para kayo ang magpapatakbo nito. Kayo magsasabi kung kailan ibebenta, kaninong tatanggapin na produkto. Lahat ay kinukuha nga ng kinukuha ng San Miguel lahat ito dahil napakagandang facility. Pero pagka silang kumuha, silang kikita. Hindi naman tama yun. Kaya nga namin ginawa ito para mas magandang kita ng ating mga farmer. Alam namin na ang buong Pilipinas ang nagpapakain ay ang ating mga magsasaka. At alam naman natin kung gaano kahirap maghanap buhay na nagsasaka. Both national at saka local government, dapat pareho nagtutulungan, lahat ginagawa para naman maaasahan natin ang ating food supply.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
More than 1,800 farmers in Camarines Sur Province are set to benefit from 2 solar-powered irrigation projects worth 332 million pesos as the National Irrigation Administration or NIA pushes sustainable agriculture under the Marcos Jr. administration. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday inspected the 2 facilities in Minalabak and Bula, which aim to boost food security and modernize farming through climate-resilient technology. The projects include the 126.7 million peso solar pump irrigation project of the San Agustin to San Ramon Agrarian Reform Farmers Cooperative in Bula, and the 205.46 million peso new Masba solar pump irrigation project in Minalabak. With the shift to solar energy, farmer cooperatives have drastically reduced their electricity costs. SARF, for example, used to spend 300,000 to 450,000 pesos a month to power irrigation pumps. Those expenses have now dropped significantly, allowing farmers to save more and earn more. The solar-powered systems also ensure a steady and uninterrupted water supply, eliminating the risk of power-related disruptions. Funded under the 2024 establishment of Groundwater Pump Irrigation Project, the 2 systems cover more than 1,800 hectares and serve 1,854 farmers. NIA Administrator Eduardo Guillen said solar-powered irrigation remains a key strategy to lower production costs and raise agricultural productivity nationwide. With the completion of the projects, NIA reaffirmed its commitment to modernizing agriculture, empowering farmers, and supporting long-term food security.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered the release of 145.56 billion pesos for the Central Mindanao High Standard Highway, a major infrastructure project expected to accelerate development and spur economic activity in the region. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, has issued a forward obligation authority guaranteeing uninterrupted funding for the project from 2026 to 2034 and preventing delays in construction. In a Malacanang briefing, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the highway is expected to bring faster travel, stronger economic activity, and more opportunities for communities in Mindanao. The new road will link Cagayan de Oro and Malaybalay, cutting travel time from about 6.5 hours to just 3.5. Budget Secretary Rolando Toledo said The directive reflects the administration's push to fast-track high-impact infrastructure. The project will be funded through loans from the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, and the Asian Development Bank, or ADB, along with government counterpart funding. Officials said the highway is expected to lower transport costs, improve the movement of goods and services, and stimulate growth in key sectors such as agriculture, logistics, and tourism across northern and central Mindanao.
Mas mabilis na biyahe, mas malakas na ekonomiya, at mas maraming oportunidad ang aasahan ng ating mga kababayan, lalo na sa Mindanao. Ito'y matapos ipag-utos ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. sa Department of Budget and Management ang pag-release ng 145.56 billion pesos na pondo para sa Central Mindanao Highway. Maliban sa maayos at angkop na paglalaan ng budget, hangarin din ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. na pabilisin ang implementasyon ng mga infrastructure projects sa bansa upang lubusang mapakinabangan ng sambayanang Pilipino. Sa paglalabas ng Forward Obligation Authority ng DBM, tinitiyak ng pamahalaan na walang patid ang financing para sa nasabing proyekto upang mula sa fiscal year 2026 hanggang 2034. Ayon kay Budget and Management Secretary Rolando Toledo, malinaw ang direktiba ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. Pabilisin ang infrastructure development sa bansa at siguruhing walang maaantalang proyekto dahil sa kakulangan ng budget. Ang Central Mindanao High Standard Highway Project ay iminumukahing ponduhan sa pamamagitan ng loan mula sa JICA at Asian Development Bank, kasama ang counterpart funding ng pamahalaan ng Pilipinas. Inaasahang malaki ang magiging epekto ng nasabing proyekto sa bilis ng biyahe sa pagitan ng Cagayan de Oro at Malaybalay. Sa oras na matapos ang highway, ay kaya nitong gawing 3.5 oras na lamang ang dati halos 7 oras na biyahe. Sa mas mabilis na transportasyon, mas maayos na dadaloy ang serbisyo, mas ramdam ng taumbayan ang progreso.
Was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacanang.
Malacanang announced Monday the completion of the long-delayed Atlu-Bola Bypass Road in Mabalacat, Pampanga Province, an infrastructure project fast-tracked under President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to finish pending roadworks nationwide. After 6 years of delays, the bypass road is now fully open to motorists, marking a significant step in improving road connectivity and easing congestion in key transport corridors. In a Palace briefing, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro highlighted the transformation of the area, saying what was once an impassable stretch used for drying palay is now a fully restored road accessible to the public. Construction was expedited by the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, completing the project in just 2 months under intensified operations led by Secretary Vince Dizon. According to DPWH, the newly opened bypass road is expected to ease traffic for motorists using MacArthur Highway and those heading to the Santa Ines exit of the North Luzon Expressway, or NLEX. The completion of the Atlu-Bola Bypass Road underscores the administration's commitment to delivering timely, high-impact infrastructure projects aimed at ensuring safer, faster, and more convenient travel for Filipinos. Malacanang reiterated that accelerating infrastructure development remains a top priority to support economic growth and improve the quality of life nationwide.
Ang dating kalsada na ginawang bilaran ng palay, ngayon ay malaya ng nadaraanan ng mga motorista. Alinsunod sa utos ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na tapusin ang mga nakabinbin na infrastructure project sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa. Binuksan na sa publiko ang Atlu-Bola Bypass Road sa Mabalacat, Pampanga matapos itong mabinbin ng 6 na taon. Tinulugan ang trabaho sa kalsada noon, pero pinabilisan ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. ang konstruksyon ngayon. Bilang pagsunod sa direktiba ng Pangulo, natapos ang kalsada sa loob lamang ng 2 buwan dahil sa double time na trabaho ng DPWH sa pangunguna ni Secretary Vince Dizon. Ayon sa ahensya, makakabawas sa traffic congestion ang bagong bukas na bypass road, lalo sa mga dadaan ng MacArthur Highway at gagamit ng Santa Ines exit ng North Luzon Expressway. Mas maginhawa at mas mabilis na biyahe sa mga kalsada ng Pilipinas. Iyan ang tinututukan ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno para sa mga Pilipino.
That was Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacanang.
Also on Monday, oil companies are following international market price trends in implementing consecutive increases in petroleum product prices in line with the existing oil deregulation law. This was Malacanang's explanation amid the sharp and successive oil price hikes despite oil companies having previously acquired their supply at lower prices. According to Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro, Republic Act or RA 8479 states that price adjustments must be based on current international prices, not on the historical acquisition cost of oil companies. Castro said current pump prices reflect the prevailing global market conditions, even if the imported oil was purchased earlier at a lower cost. However, she added that when global prices go down, even if companies bought their supply at a higher price, oil firms are still required to reduce pump prices once the current world market price drops.
Okay, under the deregulated downstream oil industry framework, base na rin po sa RA 8479, ang oil companies po na presyo ng produkto nila ay babase sa prevailing international benchmark prices, primarily Mean of Platts Singapore or MOPS, sa bawat pricing cycle. So yung oil companies po, gumagamit po sila ng FIFO, first in, first out accounting. No? Ito po yung ginagamit nila ngayon. Kung saan yung produkto na ibinebenta sa ngayon ay base sa presyo sa current or near current international market prices at hindi sa historical acquisition cost noong patungkol sa kanilang inventory. So, yung pump prices po ngayon ang nagre-reflect ng current global market conditions kahit na yung kanilang inventory ay nabili nila sa mas mababang presyo. So, kasi ganun po ang umiiral sa ganitong klase na sistema kung meron deregulation law, oil deregulation law. So, yun po ang umiiral. Pump price reflect current global market conditions. Ha? So, hindi po ang DOE ang makakapagdikta ng presyo ng gasolina, ng fuel, dahil nga po meron tayong oil deregulation law. Ang tangi lamang pong mare-regulate ng pamahalaan ng DOE ay kung sila ay lumalabag sa benchmark at kung may pang-aabuso. So, ibig sabihin, sa madaling salita, kung meron silang inventory noon, ang gagamitin nilang presyo pa rin ay yung current international market price. Pero pag bumaba naman yung presyo ng gasolina, kahit nabili nila ito ng mas mataas, kailangan pa rin silang sumunod kung ano ngayon yung current market price na mababa. So ganun po yung nagiging sistema po kapag ka po may oil deregulation law na pinapatupad.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacanang.
Also on Monday, Malacanang announced that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered the creation of a crisis committee to safeguard the country's oil supply and shield consumers from the impact of the conflict in the Middle East. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the directive was issued even before proposals surfaced, with the formal order now being finalized. The crisis body will focus on securing supply chains and ensuring the steady availability of fuel and other essential commodities. No additional details were released.
Okay, bago pa po may nagsuggest na gumawa ng crisis committee, nag-utos na po ang Pangulo na maggawa officially ng crisis committee. So hintayin na lamang po natin ang dokumento if na-finalize na po. So hindi ko po mabibigay muna yung detalye, although I have a draft, pero saka na po natin kapag mo na-finalize na.
Clarified that despite rising global prices, the Philippines is not facing an oil supply crisis. She added that the government is working to prevent any disruption in supply. Negotiations for additional imports are ongoing, including 440,000 barrels already in the pipeline and another 600,000 barrels expected. While the government cannot dictate prices, Castro said, regulators can act against abuses. She added that the administration continues to monitor the situation and implement measures to ease the impact on the public.
Pag sinabi po natin ng oil crisis, maliwanag din po ang sinabi ni Secretary Sharon Garin ng DOE. Na sa ngayon ay hindi pa kinukonsidera na meron tayong oil crisis dahil kumpleto po tayo at enough po ang supply ng langis. At nagpupursige po ang DOE at ang pamahalang ito sa utos na rin po ni Pangulo Marcos Jr. na hindi mawala ng patid, hindi mapatid ang supply ng langis o produktong petrolyo sa ating bansa. Sa katunayan, sinabi po ni Secretary Garin na mayroon na pong negosasyon patungkol sa 440,000 barrels ng fuel. At sa susunod naman po ay mayroon 600,000 barrels na maaari po tayong maangkat. Ang sinasabi po natin na wala pa po at hindi po pa dinideklara na mayroon tayong oil crisis dahil nga po sapat ang supply sa ngayon. Most probably, according to Secretary Sharon, ang nagkakaroon lamang po ng issue ay tungkol sa presyo. Dahil alam naman po natin kung ano ang nangyayari na krisis sa Middle East. Ang nais pong sabihin ng Pangulo patungkol sa oil crisis, pinapatungkulan niya po doon ay ang oil crisis sa Middle East. Pero sa ngayon po, sa atin at sa payo na rin po ng Secretary Garin sa ating Pangulo, wala pa po tayo maaaring tawaging oil crisis sa bansa.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacanang.
And finally, Malacanang announced Monday that the government is expanding its fuel subsidy program nationwide beginning April 6 as part of efforts to cushion the impact of rising oil prices and amid tensions in the Middle East. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the Marcos Jr. administration is taking a whole-of-government approach to ease the burden on commuters, drivers, and other affected sectors. Nearly 100,000 tricycle drivers have already received fuel subsidies under the President's directive. The nationwide rollout for other transport workers begins on April 6th. Farmers and fisherfolk will also receive assistance, with an additional 50 million pesos released to regional field offices. Castro said complementary measures remain in place, including free rides under the Love Bus program in Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, and Metro Davao, along with 50% fare discounts on Light Rail Transit Line 2 and Metro Rail Transit Line 3. The administration is also monitoring prices of basic goods, with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. assuring that commodities remain stable and with suggested retail prices. Castro added that the government is working to secure additional oil supply from partner countries and boost energy capacity by maximizing the Malampaya gas field and bringing new power projects online. The expanded fuel subsidy program forms part of broader efforts to protect livelihoods and maintain economic stability amid global oil market volatility.
Gamit ang whole-of-government approach, malawakan ang hakbang ng administrasyon upang pagaanin ang pasanin ng mga commuter, driver, consumer, at iba pang apektado ng krisis sa langis. Sa kanyang video message, ibinalita ng Pangulo na patuloy ang operasyon ng ating mga love bus nationwide. Libre po ang sakay sa mga ruta nito sa Metro Manila, Metro Cebu at Metro Davao. Nariyan din ang 50% discount sa mga Blue Beep cards ng LRT2 at MRT3 mula March 23, habang ongoing pa rin ang implementasyon ng 50% discount sa pamasahe ng mga senior citizens, PWD at estudyante. Nitong nakaraang linggo lamang ay umarangkada ang iba't ibang cash assistance ng mga ahensya ng pamahalaan. Ipinag-utos ng Pangulo sa DOTR at DSWD ang pamimigay ng fuel subsidies, kung saan halos 100,000 tricycle drivers ang nabahagian ng pondo. Sa April 6 naman, magsisimula ang nationwide rollout para sa ibang transportation workers. Ang mga magsasaka at mangingisda natin ay may aasahan ding fuel subsidy at dadagdagan pa ng 50 million pesos ang pondo ng mga regional field offices para dito. Sinisiguro na rin ng pamahalaan na may mapagkukunan tayo ng mas abot-kayang fertilizer mula sa ibang bansa para sa tuloy-tuloy na produksyon. Pagdating naman sa mga bilihin, tiniyak ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. na stable ang mga presyo at walang mang-aabuso patungkol sa price or prime or basic commodities ay ibinebenta sa suggested retail price. Patuloy ang pakikipag-ugnayan ng pamahalaan sa mga manufacturers upang panatilihing mababa ang presyo ng mga bilihin para lahat ng Pilipino ay siguradong may makakain.
That was Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacanang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacanang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacanang.